What's going on, everybody? Friday general talk. Nothing really specific on the mind, nothing really planned to go live. I just like to sometimes just hop on and nerd out real quick, even if I'm talking to myself only. But, you know, uh, I got some things coming through the pipeline. But, obviously there's going to be a few people that come in little later on. What I really want to do is I want to open the floor to you guys to see what you guys want to talk about. What's the buzz? What's happening? What's new in the watch world, what is somebody coming out with, what is something that is a new release or something like that. But I also like to be very transparent. I talk about the channel a lot on my lives as talking watches. And I don't know, I feel like it's a chance for me to give you guys a weekly update, if not a monthly update, just whenever I have the chance. So that's why I decided to jump on here. And well, I know I'll eventually talk about other things because I go off on tangents. But for the most part, we're going to be talking watches. And obviously. And yeah, so where are we right now? So this past month, we've done a lot of collaborations, and I introduced going live and doing more interview style, which I really did enjoy. That was a lot of fun, and I knew I would because I enjoy going live in general. So that's exactly what I'm going to keep to do. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you? How are you? Happy Friday. Friday vibes. Yeah, so I had some good collaborations. I had some good interviews, and I definitely want to keep that going. Eventually, I'll do that more so. There's a lot more planning involved. Obviously, there's another person, that you have to correspond to do the live with on the interview. But recapping the month, man, a lot of collaborations with some good companies, a lot of independent brands. We had Vario, we had Barry from ProTech, Vario's Ivan. We had ProTech, like I said, with Barry. We had Mark Time. Who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing somebody else that I also had a collaboration with. Mine's a little scattered because I also did some reviews on some watches, and those are slowly getting released. So I usually released only like one video a week on a long form. And then I have the other one saved just to keep me with pace and make sure that I'm just, keeping up with like that regular release. But a lot of good collaborations. Namoki Mod, you guys know I think that was my last video that got released. Yo, DK is in the building. What's up, brother, man? That's an exciting relationship for me to get. And I actually have some kits coming in from Namoki Mods, which is right up my alley because, as most of you know, I also mod watches. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how, I often reflect and think about the conversations that I had. And a lot of the times when I was doing interviews, the question came up of, what am I doing here with the content? What's my plans and everything else? And I know I sound like a broken record, but I promise you that this is something a little different. But Nomoki Mod also hooked me up with a watch, as you know, and I did a review on that, which was nice because I'm also trying to find a little bit of a space where, I'm doing something a little different. It already achieved what I wanted to achieve, being that somebody was new to the Nomoki brand altogether, right? That was a new brand for them, and they said that in the comments. So that's pretty cool that they were able to associate with that brand in a little bit of a different way. Instead of me doing a mod kit, I just did a review of a watch they had pre-built because my thing was this: I had confidence that they had good parts, and from the most part, when you guys watch videos on them, you guys see that people are happy with the builds, they're excited, they built their new watch, and that's something that I wanted to also get behind because I want to encourage those that want to try out building watches for the first time. I think that there is a very different feel that you get when you build your own watch rather than buying one because they're the one who put it together, and it could be a little tricky at first. And when you finally get it down, like putting on the second hand and doing things that are a little difficult, it's very exciting. So with that, we're going to continue our relationship. They're going to actually send me parts and kits, and I want to do a watch build with them, with their parts, and show you guys, from A to Z. Now, I've obviously built a lot of watches already, so I'm coming in a point of view that's a little different rather than watching a video from them and people trying this for the first time, which is exciting and it's cool content as well. But I want to give a very thorough breakdown as to what my thought process is when I get to certain points. So, Nomoki brand is another collaboration that I'm going to continue with. And I also wanted to mention they came out something that is really, really cool. I want the feedback from you guys as far as what's new and what's happening in the watch world. But Nomoki actually coming out with a kit where you can put the Alpinist together, right? Depending on how you feel about homages and everything else. But I think for me, I got super excited. And shout out to Dadmod because he made the video on that where that was the first time me seeing it. He kind of got the sneak preview to that. He got that a little early and he released a video which was absolutely phenomenal. And when I saw that video, I was super excited and I reached out to them and I asked them if they would, provide the channel with that, whether it be borrowed or sent back. And luckily they obliged. And I'm really excited about getting the Seiko Alpinist build, if you will, right? It's not going to be the actual Star 017, but I missed the boat on that. And I know a lot of people have missed the boat on the Alpinist. And I say that being, there are some watches being flown around with it, but now there's a price increase with that because they know it's no longer being produced as far as the original watch. And the kind of shopper that I am, I don't like to pay for that reason, right? I don't want to pay just because they're not making the watch anymore. And I do see value in that if you want to make that purchase and it's something that is worth it to you. But for me, it just isn't. And I kind of wrote that off and kind of moved on. And I could have built my own, right? I could have gotten parts that were similar, if not exactly the same, and made that build myself. But the fact that Nomoki is coming out with it, I have a lot of confidence in it. And the reason why is because their brand makes the watch parts very, very well. And I'm expecting it to be very, very nice as far as putting that together. I never heard of them before until I watched your video on them. There you go. There you go. Proof is in the pudding. Thank you, brother. They're a phenomenal brand. They're a phenomenal brand, especially if you want to put together a watch for your first time. So what's on the wrist today? Yes. Hold on. Let me go back on the chat and then I'll talk about the wrist. I just want an Alpinist that looks like an OG Alpinist without the compass crown. Without the compass crown. Okay. Okay. Well, I can tell you this, DK. I don't know if you already took a look at their package that they put together. I didn't look through it with like a fine comb detail to see how close it was. From a distance, it looks very, very close. And they're offering two versions. They're offering a GMT and they're offering the regular three-hand in it. And from what I see, it's close enough. And I didn't necessarily, I'm okay with it being not exact, right? Because, it's at the end of the day, it's a homage or clomage, whatever you want to call it, of the Alpinist. But obviously the logo is going to be different. And I'm okay with that because I know that the only way that I'm going to obtain the original is if I pay a hefty price. And I'm not willing to do that. So I look like Malcolm Goodwin. I don't know who that is, but he must be handsome. I'm just wrestling an aftermarket FKM strap for my PRX. All right, so for your PRX, that's tough because the lug width on that, as we know, it tapers down, and where it adjusts, I think it's like 11 millimeter width. So where I went to go get my straps for that watch, I was gonna get the original straps for it. They had like sailcloths and everything at the AD, but they were like 70 doll hairs. And I was like, I'm not ready to drop that. So what I did for that strap is I actually went on AliExpress. And I can't say that the straps there are fairly decent. It depends on what you want to get out of it. If you're looking for something that's phenomenal quality, and I don't even know if the straps they were offering at the AD were phenomenal, but obviously they might be a little bit better. But I can say that with the frequency of how often I switch out my straps, I think I got like 3 straps for it or 2 straps for it, and I have the bracelet. I'm not really worried about it deteriorating. And then obviously at AliExpress, you get a phenomenal deal. So go on AliExpress, type in Tissot PRX. It's such a popular watch. And just type in strap, and you should be able to find one. You should be good to go. I don't know if they're going to have one in FKM. I had a phenomenal recommendation for you, but my man Ted at Montreux doesn't have something for the PRX. But his FKM straps are Really nice, really nice. I have a review video that I'm doing for them, but man, I can tell you right now, when I put that strap on my wrist, it was a game changer for me. It really made me feel like how the quality is or what you can get. Like how we shop for value in watches, there's value in straps. You don't have to spend $200, $100 on a strap to get something that's really high quality. Yes, he's going to be a little bit more than going on AliExpress, but it's worth it, man. I can tell you right now because it's a game changer for your watch. Like the strap almost disappears when it's on wrist, and you'll see a lot of reviews that are already out there for him. So anyway, going back to the wrist check. All right, so on this wrist, I got a brand new watch, and I'm gonna be a little secretive. I'm gonna be a little coy. I'm not gonna show you that watch because I have a review that I'm doing with it, and I'm actually going back and forth with the company on how exactly is the best way to approach it. Not that I'm only listening to them for how to do the review. It'll make more sense when I do the review for it. There's just a certain feature in it that I don't know if they're going to offer, so I don't want to advertise it to you guys if it's not really being offered. So I want to tread lightly with that. I always want to present something that you guys have access to, stuff that you like, honest reviews, obviously, so everything like that. But I am double wristing, right? So on the right hand, I have still the mark time. Mark, sorry, I told you I was mailing this out, but I'm keeping it now. No, I'm just kidding. It is getting mailed out next week, but I still have the mark time that was loaned to the channel, and this is his M5, phenomenal watch. I also have a review coming out for that as well, and I was fully impressed. And we sat down, me and Mark Time, and we did a live where he talked about the brand and the origins and your typical interview. And that's something that has been very helpful for me, right? I'm doing this, like I want to converse with you guys for sure, but I'm also doing this so like that I get feedback and so like that I can learn and grow as a creator for content creator for watches. And I've gotten a lot of feedback, even with Mark Time and other people that have been communicating with me, and just some advice as far as like the specifics for getting better technically. Most of the time, it's just a technical level, which I'm happy about because there's nothing to say about how I'm ebb and flowing the channel itself. It's more like getting a better camera. I have a super simple setup. I'm using an iPhone 15 and I'm using a very affordable mic. I think it's called Hollyland. This is the mic that it comes with two. It comes with this charger pack. So I still got a simple setup and I didn't want that to like stop me from jumping on. I mean, there's even more affordable ways that you could. The main thing is to get started, but I don't want this to be about starting a channel on YouTube because we covered that on the last time. So I want to talk about something different. But let me know, guys. I said it earlier on, but there's some more people here. So let me know what you guys are seeing that's out there. Let me know what's on the wrist. The floor is yours. Also, I'm doing this like, I do this not pre-planned, and it's not smart, right? I should, as a person coming in and have a plan, but I like to freestyle, baby. I like to just give you the raw cut and just challenge myself, right? I'm coming on here and I don't even have a topic, so let's see if I can carry the conversation, if you will, kind of like a challenge to myself. So yeah, I got the mark time on my wrist and I got the mystery watch on the left. You guys see what watch it is soon. If you're on Watch Curse though, you have a leg up, and that's all I'm gonna say. In a lot of ways, it's the same thing. You'd be surprised at what actually gets made in China. Also, whatever device you used to watch this stream. Okay, so I missed the comment. It was made in China. I guess we're talking about Chinese watches. Hold on. Whoop. Saying the original had the crown instead of. I think DK is saying that the original one had one crown instead of two. Oh snap! Did it? Wait, so the original watch didn't have the internal rotating bezel for the second crown? I didn't know that. I'm the learning professional, as Trap says, I guess. I didn't know that. But like I said, if you go on there, it's close enough. And I actually think that the rotating bezel in the inside is cool. That's a step away from the things that they were offering before. It's a feature, it's a function, it's a complication rather. that is inside the watch, and I'm okay with that. I guess that blends. I guess that blends the two evils, or rather, the two of the newer version with the older version. So I'm cool with that. It's close enough, and I can say that I'm expecting to have good quality parts. So, Monk, I meant by China and no name factory. Let me just scroll up, make sure I didn't miss anything. I read that. Okay. All right, cool. So I'm caught up. So yeah, after all collaborations, I have some more stuff on the way, exciting stuff even. Not that I haven't been excited about what I've already done, but I'm pretty excited about what's to come. We have a new independent brand, and I don't want to mention it yet because he's still in the early stages and he's still putting everything together. He's mentioned it sometimes as comments, but I have a new micro brand surfacing. He's working on his first prototype. He's super excited and nervous at the same time, as he should be. But I've been as encouraging as I can be. That's something that is super exciting for me, and to be able to have the privilege to, weigh in on it and be able to get the watch just so I can see what I come up from it. Super exciting, man. So we have a new micro brand to the scene that we're eventually going to release, and you guys are going to see exactly what I'm talking about. But we have Orion watches. He's sending me, I believe the gentleman's name is Nick. He sent me a watch. I actually got that watch already. I haven't opened up the package, but I'm excited to see what they got. And I think DK's in here. I think you already did a review of that a while back. A couple of people already did reviews, but for me, it's new, and it's nice to get a different perspective and a different viewpoint, of course. So what else do we got? I told you guys about the Nomoki, the Alpinist. That's coming out. I have another watch kit from them also coming in. So here's I'm dancing with this idea, and I'm going back and forth. I'm not sure what to do. I want to try to attempt to put a watch together live. That is technically going to be a little bit more complicated, if you will. I'm already thinking about how that would work because I'd like to be able to communicate with you guys while I do it. But of course, here's the deal. The toughest thing when you're recording yourself building something is just the camera angle, to be honest with you, right? Because at one point or another, you're going to cover up what you're doing, and that defeats the purpose. I want everybody to see exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. But I guess for the most part, you'll get the idea, and you'll get to see the trials and tribulations that I go through when I build that watch live. So I'm still trying to piece together in my mind what that looks like, but I'm excited to do that as well. Plus, actually, legit FKM straps would be better because I have, yeah. So if it's a true, well-built, all the materials in there are legit, for sure, man. Like I sometimes have that issue with some cheaper straps too, and more so, I realized that when I got Apple straps for some reason. Like when I got the Apple straps from AliExpress, they gave me irritation. I'd wear it and it'd be good for a while, and then it starts to itching and stuff like that. So I ended up just like tossing those, obviously. But FKM is hypoallergenic, right? So if it's a true FKM strap, you shouldn't have that issue no matter how much you sweat behind it or how long you wear it. I like to sleep in my watches. So obviously if it's on my wrist all night and then I have an irritation, that could be a problem, right? So it does matter what the quality is for that FKM strap for sure. And that's exactly how it goes. So let me know what you guys have on the wrist, man. I'm curious what you got on the wrist for this Friday, man. Friday vibing. That's all we're doing. I don't know how much I'm going to be on for this, to be honest with you, because I am going to hang out with my brother real soon, and he's just wrapping up some work stuff. So, I'm just jibber jabbing. And so behind the scenes, as a content creator for watches, man, obviously there's an importance to making connections with brands, and it just comes down to this. If you want to do a review on watches, you got to get watches, and there's only really two options. You can buy them, you can front them, you could talk about the watches that you do have, but eventually that's going to go only but so long. Unless you have like 1,000 watches, then you're pretty much set to go. But if you don't, then it just comes down to collaborations, and that's what I've been doing. I've been just reaching out, sending emails, seeing who responds. Some people just don't respond. Some people respond. Matter of fact, I had somebody respond recently, and they actually were forthcoming and straight up told me that my channel wasn't big enough. And I respect that because I know that the ones that didn't answer obviously feel the same way. It's a business thing, right? We can't be mad. And I'm not mad and I have no ailment. And if they came back to me one day out of the baby blue because my channel grew big enough for them, then, I'm happy to oblige. But, that's the whole thing behind it. You have to make those connections. You have to build those relationships, and that can take time. But it's still worth it. It's still been worth the journey. It's still been very exciting to me. Now, going back to what I said with me dancing with the idea of how I got to here, I think that what happened was I got into watch collecting. I started putting a lot of affordable watches into my collection, like most of us do from the beginning, right? You start off putting 10, 15 watches, boom, boom, boom. It happens really fast, especially if they're affordable and you can afford it. How did I get here? I think it was just the journey of seeing what else collecting watches can get, I can get into, right? So, that's what modding watches, that's where my interest came for that, because it became kind of like, all right, I'm buying watches and putting in my collection, but is that it? Like, of course we can go on the communities, we could talk about them, we could watch content, we could educate ourselves. There's other routes, and those are things that I did also as well. But, things hands-on, right? To get that kind of feel that you would get from purchasing a watch, it came down to modding watches, right? I started putting together watches. I started just building them, sourcing the parts. And that was exciting, and that lasted for a while, and I still like doing that. But it was always like, all right, well, what else can I do? If I did this and I did this successfully, and to the point and to the effect of me putting together a movement together, right? I even danced with the idea of seeing if I could service a watch and just see if I could take all the parts apart and put them back together, and then eventually get into cleaning and oiling them. And I was able to successfully put them together, but I realized that is kind of like, it's not for me. It's just too tedious. It's very frustrating if you don't have the patience for watchmaking. And I gained a whole nother perspective and a whole nother respect for watchmakers. And I think that's what made me appreciate timepieces even more so. Like, so you either get it or you don't, right? And I know all of you guys get it. But for other people that don't get it, they're like, it's a watch. I don't understand. Like, all watches do the same. Time is told. It's on your phone. So they're just like, I don't get it. But when you do watch collecting and you do appreciate watches, and you don't have to do watchmaking to appreciate watches, right? But there was a level of respect that I got for watchmaking and watchmakers in general, just horology. I was like, man, oh man, like, this is legitimately a skill. This is legitimately a thing. And, we have these movements inside our watches that make things go. But, what does that really mean? Like, how does that really feel? Of course, we have now mass production where machines can do that for them. But that's not always the case. And there's a lot of companies with a lot of heritage and a lot of innovation in their movements that get a lot of praise and a lot of respect, which brings me to another subject that I'm going to bring up briefly. But that really made me appreciate watches more. And that's what made me decide, okay, so what else can I do with it? I'm still going to mod watches here and there. I've made watches for other people. I've made watches for the community. I made watches for myself. And so I still had a passion for them, but I still didn't want to go the route of just putting more watches in my collection at that point. I still wanted to like explore other things and, photography on watches and everything else. And then it just came down to, hey, listen, if I'm that passionate about it, let me see if I want to do content, right? So that wasn't really a decision that it took a long time for me to decide. It was just ripping off the Band-Aid. It was just like, you know what? Let me turn the camera on. Let me record something. Let me see if me talking into it is for me and if I like it. And I'm not worried about being good at it. So here we are today. That's pretty much has been the journey and the reason why. But also, I've talked about what am I doing with it and how I'm going to contribute. And there's a lot of different things, but, for the most part, documenting my journey with watches, documenting, like, it's going to be crazy, I think, like 10 years from now, looking back. Even, I don't know, hopefully I continue, with YouTube. It is a hobby for me at the end of the day. But even if I don't, it would be really cool to say, look back at these videos and I'll look 10 years younger and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that moment. I remember that time. I remember when I got that watch. I remember when I met these people and talked to them and stuff like that. And hopefully I still have a relationship with them in some capacity. And yeah, man, from there, the sky's the limit. And it's been quite the ride, man. Oscar, what's going on, brother? Good evening, brother. Let me see what you guys are saying. Plus, actually, but then you said that would be awesome. You're saying it's hard to get. Yeah, so that it is hard to get those angles if I do a live build. But I think that for the most part, if I get a decent angle that's not going to be covered up too much, and that's usually like, a specific angle where, if you do an overhead and you're pressing down the hands, now people can't see you do anything until you remove the hands, right? And I've done some recordings of me doing builds for long form to just test it out. So I think the best angle is kind of like from here down and your non-dominant side, right? Your non-dominant hand. I'm a lefty, so that would be on my right side and at a specific angle. And then I'll have the laptop set up in this way. If you guys have comments and questions as I go along, hopefully you don't say, hey, can you do that again? I could just talk to you guys, So that's my plan at least. Where was I? I was talking, I said I wanted to go back to it. Hold on now. I lost train of thought. Yeah, maybe it'll dawn on me. Hang on. Wait, help me out, guys, in the chat. You remember what I was talking about? You know what I'm talking about? It completely eludes me. But if it comes back, I'll talk about it. But yeah, so that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm up for it. I'm up to seeing just how it goes. Listen, the worst thing that's going to happen is that it's not the greatest production. To that point, if it really is that bad, I'll just do a long form so you guys don't miss out exactly what that process. Because here's the deal. If I record me doing it and I do the voiceover, kind of like how Wristwatch, what's that guy's name? Wristwatch. He does the servicing and then he does the voiceover. But anyway, if I do it that way, I may lose exactly what I was thinking at that moment, right? And it's not as detailed as like putting together or servicing a movement, but it may be something that just slips my mind and I don't want to forget. I want to talk about exactly how I feel in the moment or exactly how I go about something a little different. So Wristwatch Revival, exactly. Yeah, I think his stuff is very, like, even if you're not into watches, Wristwatch Revival is very entertaining and very good at the voiceover. He's very good at remembering exactly how he feels. JP is in the building, Dad Mods. So, something like to that effect with just watch modding. So JP, if you see this, man, watch the playback. I was talking about a couple of things that you might be interested in. But yeah, man. So we'll just see how it goes. We've been figuring it out as we go along up until this point, right? And when we say we, I mean me. So why stop here? I think you guys can feel the realness to my channel. How I'm very honest. I don't pretend like I know something I don't know. I'm just talking watches, baby. And that's been the passion for this channel ever since. It was just like, man, I feel like talking watches. I feel like talking watches. I feel like seeing if I could reach some people. I feel like I want to see if I can impact somebody in their watch journey. Now, I've not been a collector. I've not been into watches not nearly as long as some people. We're only talking about 4 or 5 years deep. But that being said, to somebody just starting off, and that was one of the reasons why it almost stopped me from talking watches here on YouTube, because I was like, man, what validation do I have to come up here and try to talk about watches? But it was like, all right, if I talk to somebody new, I have a lot to give, right? And it doesn't matter about how good you are or how much you know. What matters is impact, and what matters is purpose and just the human connection, right? So this thing is more about watches. It's absolutely about everything else that I mentioned. So he's amazing at restoring and servicing watches. He really is, man. Wristwatch Revival is the GOAT. Like, he goes into watches that he records, and oftentimes you'll hear him say, like, this is the first time I attempt something like this. This is the first time I've seen a movement, you know what I mean? And he's done luxury. Oh, luxury, there we go. I remember now what I forgot. we'll get back to that. Hopefully I don't forget. Let me write it down. Um, he's gone up into Rolex, man. And it was cool because I understood now what higher level of watchmaking looks like and why it's beneficial, because you can see clear as day. And if you've attempted yourself, and even if you haven't, those parts fall right into place. Those parts are sometimes 30, 40 plus years old that he's working on, and they're still in great condition, whether or not the outside of the watch is completely weathered. So that's when it's like, okay, in-house movements, watchmaking, this was made by hand, I get it. So let's go into luxury watches. And the reason why I'm bringing up luxury watches is because I don't want for a second this channel to be misconstrued as he doesn't really talk about luxury watches. And I've had some language about it. But what I've been learning quickly is that I have to be very careful about how I'm trying to broadcast myself in a way where I'm not being misunderstood. So I have to be very specific about how I explain exactly how I feel on things. Excuse me. Luxury watches. So in my channel, I started ending off a lot of my reviews, and I say that even before I sign off on my lives, it all started with a watch, which was adopted. And no matter what you decide to collect. Now, I don't talk about luxury watches. Why? Is it because I don't appreciate them? Is it because I think that they're overpriced? What's the deal? Here's the deal. I don't own any luxury watches. That's number one. I'm comfortable about talking about something that I don't necessarily think that I'm a professional in, right? And that is, what's a professional? Like, how much do you need to know? And everything else. But I don't own any luxury watches. At the moment, I don't desire any luxury watches. And that's because all of my additional spending for, my money goes into investments, goes into responsibilities and everything else. So therefore, affordable watches are a lot more attractive, right? That's nothing new. But I can't speak on something that I don't feel comfortable never experiencing, right? I've never owned a luxury watch in my life. So that's the only reason why you don't see me talking about luxury watches. And sometimes I get on here and I say, like, it's not nice how high priced they put things, and how I feel like they're trying to step away from the working man. And I try to also combat that by saying that I have a lot of respect for the heritage. I have a lot of respect for the people who paved roads, and that's absolutely true. It's just that I can't, continue from there, and I can't come on here and talk to you guys regarding that and only pull up images of them and everything else. I've done that with micro brands because I own micro brands, and I've gone to shows, and I've touched and feel a lot of watches, but I haven't risked them. I haven't, on the luxury side, I haven't risked them. I haven't experienced them that much, and I don't really, if I'm not planning to afford it right now, I don't want to spend the energy, that I have to try to come on here and talk about it too much. So I want to make it clear. I absolutely respect luxury watches. I absolutely respect luxury brands in all facets. The only thing that I can say, and I'm not really specifically talking about any one, I've seen a lot of luxury brands go through crazy price hikes and take advantage of COVID. Who didn't, right? But at the same time, if I'm looking at a luxury brand and I'm not seeing something that's affordable, right? Affordable meaning 2,000, 3,000, something to aspire to, that somebody's putting on their pants, sweating, going to work, working hard, looks at a watch, says, I want that to be my one watch where I'm like, I worked hard for this watch. I respect the heritage. I respect the just everything that goes into it. If that guy's got to spend 10K just to get in the door, now you could buy used, but that's not enough for me personally. In my opinion, I think that you should be able to buy new or used. If you're going after something that's much higher and you want to buy used, and that specific luxury brand loses a lot of value, cool. But I dare to say that every luxury brand should have tiers underneath their name, right? Not an off brand, not a different company, not anything else, but just here you go. It's still a luxury brand. You're still going to get the quality. We may have to not cut back, but maybe it's not as complicated as a watch. Maybe it doesn't have as rare materials, but here's a model that is priced more in the lane of everybody being able to experience. I think everybody should experience every single watch. I think everybody should accept every single watch out of respect. I'm not saying that, oh, you should love this brand and you should put one in your collection in order to appreciate it. No. If that brand or that watch is not for you, but somebody sitting next to you is rocking it, you're like, yo, cool, that's a watch collector. Let me have a conversation with him. Let me learn something new. Let's vibe out. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by it. And that's exactly, yeah, Rolex has Tudor. That's a prime example. I was trying not to name no names over here, but Patel already spilt the tea. But Grand Seiko has Seiko, exactly. But see, that's a perfect example, right? Rolex has Tudor, Grand Seiko. That's a perfect example, but at the same time, I should still be able to get a Rolex, and I should still be able to get a Grand Seiko that is still affordable. That's still within grasp of reason. I don't know. Everybody's bankroll is a little different, but I think once you get past 2K, once you get past 3K, it just feels morally wrong to spend that much for most. We're all obviously going through tough times right now. The economy is where it's at. So that's my spiel on it. I absolutely respect luxury brands, but I'm not going to be talking about them too much. If somebody comes on the channel and they want to talk about it, cool. But I just can't speak about it responsible. Grand Seiko has King Seiko. Yeah, there's definitely options right there. There's definitely options right there. So yeah, that's just my whole take on it. You know what I mean? That's why most of the time I'm going to be talking about affordable watches, and it's going to vary. It's affordable from a $50 watch all the way up to 500, maybe 1,000, 2,000. I don't know. We'll see. But it just, I'm welcoming in my doors to anything, and I'm kind of trial and testing different things, right? That's one thing that you'll notice. Like if you're on my channel, you're like, okay, this guy's modding, then he's reviewing, then he's on live. I don't have like a specific lane that I'm trying to stay in. It's specific to the affordable watches, but I like to do what I like to do, and if I feel comfortable doing something or trying something or documenting something, that's what I'm gonna do, regardless of maybe you find a channel and all you want is reviews. But I, from what I've seen, for the most part, people are pretty receptive to the fact that, there's a broad thing that I'm covering. I'm doing modding, I'm doing reviewing, I do lives, and everything else. So I appreciate the support, no matter which way I decide to navigate. Let me see if there's any. I can't afford luxury. Dad mod. I can't afford luxury watches! Exclamation point. I like to eat more. I like to eat more than just more than, I guess, fast food. Yeah. I said the same thing, JP. I was like, I have other financial responsibilities, and if I go into that lane and I start feeling guilty, then listen. I of course aspire to. I'm a young man. I'm only 35, so I of course aspire to be able to afford it where it doesn't hurt as much to go over there, or at least like all my responsibilities are taken care of and I can't afford it. And maybe that time will come. And I don't know. One thing I can say is that the journey has changed several times. Like when I unearthed microbrands, I was like, whoa, microbrands were really exciting for me, because I saw a lot of value in microbrands, in that they can do things that the bigger brands can't do. They can offer things that the bigger brands can't do. You're getting a lot better step ups and tiers and movements, and you're getting a lot of designs that are unique, So that was really, really an exciting chapter to really see that. Trap Vision 3D, what's up, brother? What's happening? I had to get on here and do this live before you did yours. I'm not trying to butt any heads, but yeah, man. So once I unearthed microbrands, that was a completely different chapter, and I would have never known in the past, because I was more on iconic watches and affordable watches, and I love those real like the Casio Duro, man, that watch is classic. Like it's already classic because it can deal with a lot of meters of water resistance. It's gonna work. It's a quartz. It's a lot. It's very fun. It has a lot of different options as far as different colorways, and it went crazy when the Duro came out, right? So I was in that lane, right? I was on that SKX, Seiko 5, you know, all of the popular iconic watches. And then I unearthed micro brands, and I was dancing with the idea of doing like, it's okay, Ma, you're not in the shot. My mother came in the room and she just stopped. She thought she was in the shot. Um, uh, where was I? Once I unearthed micro brands, it opened up a whole new lane, and I was just like very excited about that. And looking back, I would have never known that that would have been a thing for me, you know. And the more I learned about micro brands or independent brands, however you want to classify it, the more it was like, man, some of these guys have in-house movements. Some of these guys are doing things that nobody innovative and everything else. So it's like, okay, this is a category that is very interesting, but also it opened up a different appreciation, man. It's a lot of these guys, if not all of them, they're regular guys, right? Like I started doing this content, and a lot of them come from a modding background, right? Because they want to be able to, it's expensive to have a watchmaker make your watches. But if you can do it yourself, there's a cost being saved there. But it's not cheap, right? When we went live with Mark Dunn, when you're talking about getting a design language that's different, when you're talking about manufacturing, if you're deciding to start off bigger, he said it was $100,000, right? And I'm pretty sure that's just like, I'm pretty sure there's more things that could go wrong. I'm pretty sure maybe he had already connections. I'm pretty sure that there's more to that story. But that was an eye opener for me. That was something that I learned, and that was kind of like, wow, I didn't know that it's that deep. If you're trying to come out with something original, if you're trying to come out with something that has its own manufacturing and everything else. So yeah, man, there's a lot of appreciation for micro brands and independent brands for that matter. Plus, how nervous is it, right? Like to say, okay, I'm passionate enough. I really want to put a watch out there, whether it's original or not. You know, let me go ahead. Sorry about the beep, guys. That's the door. Let me go ahead and move forward with it. But it's like, you know, what if nobody moves on it? What if nobody likes it and everything else? And that's just a regular guy like you and me, a regular enthusiast that wants to do that. And they'll go ahead and jumping in and doing that. Let me catch up on chat. Skylar, I feel you though. Sometimes if you collect too many micros, like you could have just bought that used Speedmaster Moonwatch. Slippery slope sometimes. All right, so here's the deal, Patel. Yes, so here's what I would say about that. Right now, I just spoke about how I'm not ready for luxury watches, right? That has to be in line with the percentage that I make. And like I have a percentage of what I make as play money, and everything else is the obvious stuff. So if you know that, and you know that right now, it wouldn't make sense, even if you saved up to put that much money right now, then maybe you're just not ready right now to have a luxury watch, right? Maybe that's something you aspire to, and that's what motivates you every day when you go to work to get your bread up. So like that, it's less of a feel. Now, if that's not the case, and putting a luxury watch in your collection is the focus regardless, and you're not going to feel bad because you say, okay, I'm going to save up for this amount of time, and I've earned that right because I planned for it and it didn't affect me, cool. Then I would say that, yes, you have to be careful with how many micro brands or any other watch that you get too excited about, because that's going to deviate from what you really want. So I agree and I disagree at the same time. For me and where it's at right now, I just know that right now on my journey, luxury watch wouldn't make sense for me. It wouldn't really fit my profile for right now. I'll probably get there. But luxury brands for me now are micro brands, if you will, right? Everything we put on a wrist, even if it's $25, it's $25 that didn't go to food, rent, electricity. It's luxury, right? There's people that can't do that, and we can't forget that. So, you know, I think that I would encourage you to maybe change your mindset and look at it like that as well. So like that, you don't feel so bad that you can't get that moon watch, and it's really luxurious and stuff like that. Like a lot of the stuff that you have already is luxurious. But again, if that's something that you really want to move on and something that you want to do, you absolutely need to pump the brakes on putting whatever in your collection, because that's going to deviate from the course. And that's something that I've already implemented in me collecting, right? I've gotten to 42 watches at this point in time. I just counted it. And I've realized that, okay, what are we doing over here, right? Let me slow down, because one thing that I've learned as I've been putting watches in my collection, if I had a little bit more information, I might have gone a different route. And when I unearthed, like I said, micro brands, I kind of had that perspective. No, I want to say I kind of had that wisdom, if you will, at that time, where I was like, all right, I've already been through that exciting kind of phase. I already know right now I'm getting really excited about micro brands, and you can get a lot of value from them, but let me slow down. And that's why I do the micro brand breakdown sometimes when I do these lives, right? I want to learn more, and I utilize this platform to find out and learn from you guys. There's been movements that I didn't know about. There's been features that I didn't know about. And I appreciate you guys for that, because you guys are helping me build my collection in a responsible way, where I'm gaining that knowledge before pulling a trigger and getting so excited. Because you could get really excited about micro brands because all of the designs, all of the values and everything else. So I've been very slow. The first micro brand watch that I got was the Venecianico Rendendore Aventurina. As you guys know, I love saying that. That was a gift though, right? My wife, beautiful woman. She knew that I was on this micro brand kick, and on my 35th birthday, she got me that watch. So that was my first watch. And I'll be transparent with you guys. Mark Time actually gifted me his M1.2 after doing the review, and after everything else, he sent me 3 watches. I'm sending 2 back. It wasn't the plan to begin with, but I thank him very much. And that was my second micro brand watch into the collection. And I'm really taking my time as far as what comes next and what I want to do, and I want to gain that knowledge. So I don't want to get too caught up. You know how I get caught up. I'm up in Trifecta after closing hours. Man, you the GOAT, man. They handed you the keys. They're like, hey, yo, Trap, just close the door when you leave. After closing hours, talking watches with a few collectors. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Just paying the phone over to them, be like, you see that guy right there? He's one of us. Nice, Trap. Hey, Skylar, micro brands are the answer over bolted luxury brands. Right on, my brother. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing the same sentiment. I can understand if people don't feel that way, because a lot of micro brands don't have the age, don't have the heritage. So I get the argument on both sides, and I respect both. But for me, that's the reason why, and I'm glad you agree, JC Watch. Agree, JC, Pagani, San Martin. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother subject, right? Getting homage, clomage, whatever you want to call it. You guys know I accept everything, and that's another thing that I absolutely accept, because I get it, man. Like, you could either spend $10,000, or you can get a watch that is $100 and something that has the 1-for-1 design with a different logo. I know that's a big controversy topic, and you should know where my answer lies with that, even if it was a different subject, because you know where my headspace is at this point. And I've gotten a lot of homage watches. That's another route. If you really love the design that the luxury brand owns, say what you want, man, but those watches are built, man. Those watches, you're not getting, obviously, the crazy details in it and finishing and all that, but bro, the expense is real. Absolutely. The expense is real on micro brands, man. I definitely concur. Excuse me, guys. In Cottonmouth over here. Just ordered $150. Sheesh. So I didn't want to spill the beans too much, Dad, JP. I did lightly talk about it, but I'm interested. I'm going to get you on a live. We're going to get a live going. I know everything is in the early stages right now for you, but we're going to do a lot of things, man. I absolutely support you on your new venture. And I want to say this, man. I'm saying this live. Just stay the course. I know it's nerve-wracking. I know that there's a lot of reasons to say no. There's only one reason to say right. And you got to get out of your head. And if you feel it here, if you really feel like this is what I want to do right here, that's all you need. And you just got to keep powering through it, man. And the community has your back, bro. I know there's people on here, there's content creators, there's a bunch of community people that I know for sure, I put my money on it. I'm like this. If I'm supporting him and I'm excited about it, there's got to be other people that are excited about it and going to support him in some capacity. So stay the course, bro. Stay true to your heart. We got your back, man. This is what it's really about. This is what it's really about. I mean, this is nice too. I'm not gonna lie. No, I'm not gonna cap. But it's more about that kind of thing, right? Being supportive of somebody and watching them come up, and the support goes in crazy in it's multifaceted, man. The river runs deep. The river runs deep. All right, so let me catch up on chat. I'm sorry, guys. No, I haven't been able to get one yet, but I'm sorry about the beeping. They're going in and out, letting the dogs out and stuff. Who let the dogs out? No, I haven't been able to get one yet, but I have it in the cart. I think just one more watch. Did a video on one of them. That cart, man, that cart's a dangerous thing, man. So if you put a watch in the cart, you damn near you already bought it. You just didn't know it yet. You're just going through the motions now, right? That's what I tell people when they do a post about a watch and they're like, I don't know if I should get this one. I'm really excited about it. I really love it and everything else. I'm like, man, you've already gotten too close to it. That's like saying, I want to fly close to the sun, but I don't want to get sucked in. Oh, you gonna get sucked in. Like, you done flown too close to the sun, man. Like, you know how watch collecting is, baby. You've already bought it. You already bought it. Now you just, those watches look cool. Looking to buy one. I would rather like one used heritage brand watch, like a Speedy 4K, or 4 new 1K-ish micro brand watches. Oh, would I rather? Would you rather? Is that question for me, Thelonious? Is that question for me? Would I rather? Because right now, I'll answer that too. If it's not for me, that's a tricky question, because I just had said that I'm being careful. So let's put it to you like this: if I had 4 watches in my scope that I wanted to pull the trigger on, I'd probably do the 4 watches. Because at that point, right, I've said this before, I'm not just buying watches, I'm buying the brand. I'm buying the passion behind it. I'm buying the people behind the watch. And that's specifically on micro brands, which you asked about. So, I would buy 4 watches at that point. If I was really in love with the brand and the people and everything else, that would be the move I would make today. Moving forward, if I'm really for, something else and I'm really dead set on getting that luxury brand with heritage, then that's just that, man. I at this point, I've got good self-control, and that's something that we all got to practice. It's very easy to get lost. So, I'm mostly a high-end collector, but I appreciate Skylar's perspective. See, I love that. I love that, Patel. I love the fact that we found common ground, and it wasn't even necessarily for us to find common ground, because I just had said that I got no bad ill will against luxury brands other than what I spoke about before. But I definitely want somebody who only collects luxury watches to come on here and be part of the community and speak your piece. I don't want to shadow over somebody who loves only luxury brands. Matter of fact, I had somebody on my channel a while back that was only on luxury brands, and that's awesome. That's awesome. I want you on the channel even more so, because you have a perspective that I don't have right now, and I can't get to responsibly. So that's exactly what I'm talking about, man. Like, we're all part of this journey. We're all part of this community, and we're all accepted. It almost sounds like I'm about to hit the end of the live. That's what I always say. Adopted slogan. Question for you, Sky. Oh, it's a question for me. Okay, cool. Agree, Skylar. It's just like my collection. I would say I have, let's say 8K, but I would rather have more different watches that I can use all the time, and I wanted to do that. Yeah, exactly. I think it matters more where you are, and you have to be real with yourself. It doesn't matter which way you go. That's not, That's not what's most important. What's most important is you got to be on. Because here's the thing: if you get, if you get, if you go after a luxury brand for the wrong reasons, there's no greater disappointment probably, unless you get your hands on a Rolex, right? You get the call, and then you could sell it, and then you have the same value, or if not, whatever the case may be. There's no greater disappointment. I don't think. I think we all know the experience of being let down by a watch that we bought. You know, either we got too excited or we had the wrong optics on it, and when we got it in, we're like, oh, this is not what I thought it would be. It's sitting in the watch box. But now either you spent $150 to $300, maybe $5, or you spent $8,000. And an $8,000 mistake and regret, sheesh, you could have got a car for that. You know what I mean? So I really, if not anything else, I would say just like wherever you are in your collection, man, just reflect. You know, that's going to be the service message for this live. It's just let's reflect on our collection, but not only reflect on our collection, go deeper than that. Really think about, you know, how about this? Really appreciate what you already have in your collection, right? Ask yourself, did I risk everything in the watch box throughout the next 2 months? Like, if I go to the next 2 months and I don't put something in my collection, should I really be worrying about the next watch, or should I be looking at the collection and maybe trimming it, maybe giving some watches away, or do I have the wrong optic, right? One thing that hit me, I'll share it with you guys. I've got 42 watches in a range. The luxury watch that I have, it's debatable, is the Tissot PRX. You know, I don't have something of crazy caliber, but for me, that was a Swiss watch, and I know how some people feel about the PRX Powermatic 80 and the whole thing about that. But for me, it was a luxury watch, and it was purchased when I made a very big move in my career, so it means something to me. But I have everything from that to the watches that I created, right? The watches that I modded. And $50 watch, whatever. I got 42 watches. And I said, I'm gonna trick myself. I'm gonna trick my mind. When I go to my watch box, I wanna act like I'm going to an AD and I'm checking out watches. Like, and the nice thing is if you can get to that place, I have a crazy imagination, so maybe you can't get there, but just stay with me. If you go to your watch box and if you have a collection that's like where it's at for me, like I would say, even if it's like 10, 15 watches, that's already like, you got a full watch box, right? I got watch boxes that are full. So I got 42 watches. So I'm like, every time I pull up to my watch box, I'm gonna act like I'm at an AD. And the best part is that this AD has every watch that I like. Maybe I'm not crazy about some watches anymore, but maybe I am. And that has changed my perspective on the watches that I have already. That I was already here with like pacing myself and putting watches in my collection, but it really brought me down to like ground level. I'm like, man, I'm in a good position right now. You feel me? Like, there's people right now, they can't pay rent. You know, I don't want to get emotional and I don't want to get too crazy with it, but that's the reality of it. Some people can't put a $50 watch in their collection. So, you know, before I get too excited about something brand new, something shiny, you know, let me look at my situation and appreciate where I am right now and reflect on where I came from and what watches do I want to give away. You know, if somebody's going through tough times, you know, can I help them out? Is there a younger generation that I could give a watch that I'm not really risking? And I can tell you this, I've gotten more satisfaction from that than I have from buying a new watch. You know, that really was like, it's one thing to buy a new watch for yourself, but it's another thing to give a watch away to somebody who's going to appreciate it, that you maybe you're not warming up on the wrist anymore. And just the perspective has changed for me. Like I said, I roll up to my watch box and I'm like, yo, I'm at AED. I'm like, every watch in here is nice. Which watch do I want to wear? And then from there, I could finally say, you know, I really feel like I want this. Before getting influenced by what's out there, right? I looked at my watch collection. I have bronze, I have stainless steel, I have plastic with the moon swatch. I love all of them. I have oversized watches, I have smaller watches, I have different styles, I have different complications, I have customized. So it's like, okay, before I go out there and I start tricking my brain, what's really missing here that could keep me within that realm? Oh, carbon composite. I don't know nothing about that. Oh, tritium. Okay, cool. See how things are lining up with the collaborations that I did? Okay, I don't have somebody who's doing, affordable. So that's where that came into play, and that's how I've been able to really slow down that urge to like need to put something in my collection. Plus, doing stuff like this, man, just there's different satisfactions that you can get before burning a hole in your pocket. Let me catch up on chat. Catch up on chat. I've tried it on. Okay, you guys are talking. Nah, Skylar, I own Seikos. I own Tex. I love the moment. Okay, so you okay, cool. So you have a large range in what you own. But still, man, the fact that you own Patex, man, like that's what's up. That's really cool, man. Anyone have hand and experience with the Lunar Pilot? I have the Lunar Pilot. I have the Lunar Pilot. Excellent watch. Excellent watch. Very affordable if you get like the standard. They have crazy iterations now, and that watch took off, and you can get a lot of different dials and different setups now for it. But you can catch a deal on a Lunar Pilot on Amazon now. If you catch one of like the sales, like $300, $400, yo, that watch is on the money. When you talk about accuracy, when you talk about, that for me also filled my cup for when I was at one point so excited about the Moonwatch, right? Very similar. We all know the story to the Lunar Pilot about how that was snuck onto the shuttle. But I was like, man, this watch made it to the moon too. So, it's super affordable. But it turns out, and I was early on in my collecting, I didn't know as much as I know now, but that really filled my cup with that. And that's a phenomenal watch. It's beefy. If you get the original, it's beefy. So, keep that in mind. But I would definitely recommend if you're looking at the Lunar Pilot and you can get to an 80 that has one, try that on your wrist, unless you have a big size wrist. I have a 7.25-inch wrist, and it's just on the money where I feel comfortable. So it is a little bit bigger, but it's a phenomenal watch, incredibly accurate, and it has the story. And Boulevard obviously has the heritage and everything else. So I definitely recommend that. It's a nice watch, but a bit pricey at. I guess you're talking about the Lunar Pilot. I don't know, man. Maybe the prices went up since when I got it, but I got it at like below 500. I can tell you that much, because at that time I was like, man, I'm not even touching watches that are over 500. Now, that threshold has gone up a little bit, but it's okay because we slowed down at the same time. The movement is fire though. Yeah, I just said that the accuracy on that is crazy good. They made a small one. They made a smaller one, but it's like they listen to us when it comes to these, bigger brands. Everybody was like excited for that watch, and then they said, can you shrink it? And this even happens in the affordable end, right? But something happens in between that. They don't just release the watch and then, okay, we're going to shrink it, and then it's going to be the same price, a little bit more. No, I think when they shrunk it, it went from like $300 to $400 to like $1,000. Cause I was like, come on, man, what are you guys doing? And then you get something like the Duro. That was another watch. I just talked about it. It's phenomenal, the original one. It came out with a smaller size, and then you lost the water resistance in it. Do we really need 200 meters of water resistance? No, but you know how we feel about it as enthusiasts. Like, why sacrifice that? Why not just make it smaller to fit on other wrists and say, here you go, guys. We appreciate you guys buying watches. Have at it. They don't do that, man. It's not nice. If you have a flat-ish yeah, that's true too. It depends on, some people have like really round wrist. Mine flattens out right where the watch sits. So I've got like the best case scenario, and then the wrist width is pretty good. So the lugs on the Lunar Pilot come to the very edge of my wrist, but definitely I feel like I could pull it off. But again, I'm over here preaching my opinion, and again, it's just that. So if you don't mind having a watch that big on your wrist, sometimes, it's debatable if the lugs are hanging off. That might look a little funny. But at the end of the day, even if it is, and you still want to rock that watch, rock it, man. Especially if you're going to save almost half the cost. I have a flat wrist. Jesus loves you. It fit kind of like the Jack Mason or the Seiko Turtle. Okay, yeah. Jack Mason. It's shorter, 43, but it's Space G's in the building. What's going on, big dog? Welcome in. Really, that's cool. Let's hi to everyone in the chat. Jake says hi to everyone. Tell him I said what up. Tell him I said up. What's up, Jake? Oh, he's probably listening because you're on here, right? Jake, thanks for tuning in. I'm talking about prices on. I'm talking about prices on Oscar. I found the white and blue one for $4.98 on the. Okay, we're talking about. I'm thinking we're talking about still the Lunar Pilot, and if it's a white and blue one, then that's definitely a newer one. So if you found it for $4.98, that's probably a good value for it. Because I think that watch was going for like 700 plus. Man, watch is tough nowadays. You want to buy all the watches, and it could get very expensive. Yeah, I hear you, man. That's the toughest thing. That's the toughest thing. I mean, if I'm going to speak on that, I could just say, go try to find some relationships with ADs where you at least can put the watches in your hand. Maybe some of that will go away because you're experiencing them to a different. I mean, I know that it's not the same as having it in your collection. The best you can do is find the best style and the best functions or features or whatever is drawing you to that watch, and find who's doing it best for you. You know what I mean? You can't have them all. It's not going to work out that way. And if it does work out that way to some degree, then your bank account's not going to be happy. So I totally get that, man. But, building a relationship with an AD, that's not something that I've done just yet. There's definitely value in that. I definitely want to do that down the road. I'm just trying to create the ground level before I do such a thing. But, going on the communities and seeing other people. I don't know, man. I'm trying to give you, Oscar. I'm trying to give you advice, man. But it's like in my head, I'm like, I know exactly how he feels. And you want to touch and feel all these watches. You want to own them. It's tough. It's tough. $4.98 is not a bad price. It's definitely not a bad price. Again, if we're talking about the Lunar Pilot and it's the iteration with different colorways, because the standard one is the standard one. So I think that was. Yeah, so all the new ones are like around $700, $800, I believe. So what's your favorite micro brand for a Tourbillon? I'll be honest with you, Tourbillons, I don't know, man. For me, it doesn't do much. Like it's really, really cool. It has its function for sure. I love that open heart kind of aperture to see that tourbillon and everything else. I don't have somebody who's doing it the best, right? And then there's also that side of it where you kind of have to know who's also producing that the right way and producing the function. I mean, I'm guessing that you're also talking about like whether or not I could afford them. I don't know. But and that's something that I have to look into more, to be honest with you. And I'm not there yet. I'm okay with the complications that I have. I'm a basic, you know what? So like just the date wheel is cool. You know what excites me? For some reason, power reserves on the dial. I love those things. Right now, I would take and I know a tourbillon is way more complication. It takes way more to put it in there. But power reserves, man, I have no idea why. But I don't own like a mechanical version of it. I have a quartz, the Citizen. What is it called? The Citizen Blue Angels, and that has a function where you press the button, it'll tell you the power reserve, and it's solar, so it makes sense. But I don't have, and it would be kind of cool too. No, you just put something in my head. Wouldn't it be cool to have a power reserve indicator like that? I know some quartz watches will tick differently, and they'll have some kind of indication that the battery's ready. But wouldn't it be cool if we had like an exact amount of powerage in your battery? On a regular quartz, not a solar, to tell you like when it's almost time to change that. I think that's cool. I think that would I mean, you probably wouldn't use it that much, but I don't know, man. Maybe that would be cool. But yeah, going back to it, power reserve is actually something that excites me. And I don't know too many micro brands that even do power reserves, to be honest with you. Again, I still got to do my homework, and I still got to vibe out with you guys and learn from you guys. If anybody is watching this on the playback and you guys know more about who does tourbillons as a micro brand and who does power reserves, let me know who's doing it, man. I'd love to add them to the list. I'd love to dive deep into them. I'd love to do a live where I can talk back and forth with you guys and see what you guys think about that thing. But yeah, man, I'm being black and white with you. I don't know enough to make a comment on the tourbillon. You're like, damn. I was just asking you for a brand, bro. What are you talking about? Power reserves and going into some other stuff. I got to see this. Let me scroll up. Let me scroll up. I'm gonna catch up on chat. What's your paper? That's where I was. Protect. Look at Aragon for man space. Aragon needs to put you on, man. They need to give you a job over here. You on that Aragon, man. I took a peek at Aragon. I think that they're on my list of lives to do when we do the community breakdown of them, which is basically me window shopping. But I think it's kind of, I know there's a lot of people that are like, man, I hate people who do reviews that just do it from the computer. But it's a little different. It's like, yeah, you're watching me window shop, but I'm actually asking you guys questions, and you're watching me learn, and you're watching me unearth how micro brands present themselves and what they have to offer, and doing a deep dive. So I think it's a little different. You own a Sega Smoke. Good afternoon, Skylar. Robert Wood, what's going on, brother, man? Robert Wood's in the building. Good afternoon. You are right on the new lunar pilot prices, starting at 7. And Robert Wood, I'll be honest with you, man. I was taking a blind shot. It could have easily, with the way things are going with prices on watches, been more, unless you are talking about the Meteorite, yeah, which is a very nice dial. But yeah, that's 1,500. And the Lunar Pilot broke those barriers first, I think, when they shrunk the watch. I think when they first shrunk the watch, it was already like 1,000 and some change. And then I think they did, they did the Meteorite dial, which is 1,500, which is like, we came from like a 350 on a sale to 500 when it's not, to 1,500. Don't tell me that Meteorite cost that much money. Stop it. Stop it right now. It's not nice. It's not nice. They see the hype, they pivot, they're like, okay. It's almost like a trade-off system, I feel. It's like, okay, you want us to shrink it? No problem, we'll shrink it, but we're gonna take these features out. Or it's gonna cost more money. Or we're gonna do something a little different, which they should be doing anyway. Like the Lunar Pilot, if it's taking off and you're like, okay, I wanna add another flavor, there's watch collectors that will own multiple of them, or it just needs a refresh, do the refresh. And I'm not even mad if you put a little bit of change on it. It's cool. You might do little tweaks in that. You might up your QC on it because now you know that there's a hype train with it. So you want to make sure that people who are getting the new iterations are getting a quality piece, even better than what was before, so you can build your reputation. But when you take away stuff or you start adding the price, it's like, come on, you ruined it for me, man. That's my opinion. I have a Sega's Moon Phase. Moon Phase is cool too. Moon Phase Complication, I rock with that. But I'm funny because I just started putting GMTs into my collection, and I use that just as an AM PM indicator, which makes no sense, but it does to me. I don't travel a lot, so why I need to know when the sun is up and when the sun is down, I definitely don't. But that's how I like to have fun with the GMTs, because I also like the look, and I also like to tell myself if I do get on a plane, I'm ready. But now that I'm communicating with different watch brands, a lot of them are overseas, so it's starting to make sense at the same time. Because I was just chatting with somebody, and I think he's in China, and he's like, okay, it's 12 o'clock at night here, man. I gotta go to bed. And I was like, oh snap, yeah, he's right. So I might find use out of GMTs after all, or I could get my butt on a plane and go somewhere and get out of New York for a little bit. Who knows? Trap, Aragon, also kinda. Hold on, let me catch up on chat. Also kinda can't love it because bracelet. If you had the cash, I would seriously look at Longines, Heritage, Cento, Power Reserve. Thank you, Robert Wood. So I was already eyeballing Longines because, obviously as we stretch our budget for watches, Longines is a very good step too, especially coming off of the Tissot PRX. I would say that's the next step, right? And I don't know how much that watch is, Robert Wood. I'll definitely look it up if you don't know offhand. If you do, pop it in chat. But that might be a real life thing for me when I'm ready to start adding more luxurious watches. But they make phenomenal watches, and Longines has been putting in some work. Like, not for nothing. I know I say I don't put a lot of focus on it, but I watch other content creators too, and we see some coverage on that. Trap does that very well at his AD. And they're doing some very nice things. They're doing some very nice things with GMTs and their complications. And from where I'm standing, their watches look pretty well refined and give you a luxurious feel. So Longines Central is fire. I'll definitely check it out, man. You guys are. I have a Manta, SkyQuest. Yeah, Manta's another thing. Manta's another thing. They're up there, but I'm sure. Matter of fact, Trap also said that he had one recently, and he goes by it. So I'm sure that they make phenomenal watches, and they're pretty much luxury, right? They're up there in the price, and they give you that feel. You're the learning professional, bro. That's it, man. That's it, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. You couldn't have phrased that any better. You couldn't have phrased that any better for me, and I go by that. And I actually said that earlier before you were in, man. I'm like, I don't sit here and pretend like I know everything because I just don't. But I'm too excited to wait before I feel confident enough to get on here and talk about it. You know what I'm talking about? There's a lot of stuff that I do know, man, but I can't bore you guys. A lot of you guys are professionals out here. A lot of you guys are putting me on the game. So how I look talking about, well, a beginner watch, you're gonna be like a beginner watch. Stop it. You going to watch Time New York in October? You talking about the Wind Up Watch Fair? Yeah. The Wind Up Watch Fair? Yeah, so I'm definitely going to that, and I'm planning to do some coverage in there. I'm going to prepare the gear. I think my brother's going to roll with me to do some recording. And my plan for Wind Up is I'm still dancing with that, and I got to make a decision because time's coming. But I do know this. I do know that I can't go in there as a creator all 3 days. I do want to go all 3 days because it's like Super Bowl for me. But I want to have at least one day where I go in there as just a watch nerd, where I really get to like not worry about, because here's the deal, when you're recording, you have to worry about a lot. So I want to go in there with just a peace of mind, be able to really talk to the people that are there, experience the micro brands, get a hands-on, and just be excited like anything else. And I have people in my family, I have people that want to actually go there with me after me talking about it. And I'm really excited about that because now I'm going to be able to introduce family members to the watch brands and the whole idea of micro brands while they're in town, right? While the circus is in town, take full advantage of that. So probably 2 days of like recording, the first day being the bulk of it, right? Depending on how that goes and how much I cover, I know time flies. And if you're having a conversation with somebody, but yeah, probably 2 days of recording to some degree. So maybe I could do long form, but I'm gonna go live. And one of the days though has to be dedicated for me just being a watch nerd and being able to go in there with that full experience. Central Power is like 4K 3.8. Yeah, that's a lot of doll hairs, man. I might have to build up to that. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you guys see me roaming around and you guys are planning to come to the New York thing, just come up to me, say hi. I'm a friendly guy, and I'm excited to meet you guys in person if you're gonna be there. $3,800 for Longines. I would get a discount. Okay. Robert Wood, I appreciate you, man. I'm not there yet. Like I said, I'm not there yet to drop that guap. But when I do, I know who to call. I appreciate it. And push micro brands. Oscar, and push micro brands is the way to go, so that make the luxury brands thinking of lowering their prices because the competition, and that's a win-win on both sides, customers and watchmakers. So I see your theory, but I'm not too sure. Okay, yeah, I could see that. I could see that being a thing, right? Because I think that a lot of micro brands are putting a lot of pressure on them. And of course, that space is still fairly, now I'm not gonna say fairly new because there's a lot of micro brands and independent brands that have been around for a long time. But for the accelerant, right? For the increase in numbers and eyes and optics on it, I definitely feel that micro brands are putting pressure on them. I mean, like I said before, they're doing in-house things, they're being innovative, they're listening to enthusiasts in the way that I talked about before, the bigger brands are not doing. They're kind of, in my eyes, they're kind of taking advantage to where now you have a micro brand that's actually going to these shows. They're talking to people live, right? They just don't have all these branches. They have that leg up, and they can offer us something from based off of feedback, right? Feedback that they're taking in from us and stuff that they probably hear over and over again. And it's wild the feedback that they get, because they get things that, and I watch a couple of interviews of micro brand owners, and they get some feedback that things that they've never even thought of, which is really cool. And then they go back and change it like yesterday. So that there's definitely some pressure on the luxury brands for sure. But I think that they're going to have a market where a lot of people are always going to value that. But I see what you're saying, and I can't agree to that aspect, because you have micro brands now coming out with crazy complications and crazy innovations to where a fraction of the cost. Like if you were to turn to, even if it's your favorite luxury brand, you're going to be like 20K, 30K. And with this independent brand that's doing it, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Christopher Ward. If you guys have like an independent brand that's like, okay, we're gonna take what it costs and times it by 3, and that's gonna be the price. And everything is black and white. So now, not only have you built the trust of the customer, not only have you changed the game and put a crazy complication in your watch, but now you're offering it to the capacity of it being and feeling and looking luxurious, and it being attainable, right? Even if that's a crazy number for you, you can get there, right? Rather than 50K, 60K, and that's lowball. If you get a complication like that on a crazy luxury brand, sheesh, 200K. How you gonna get that? All right. We've been on here for a minute, but I mean, you guys are coming. As long as you guys come in with the chat, man, I might be locked in. But I can't go forever. I gotta hang out with the little brother. Little brother, he's a grown man, but he's always gonna be my little brother. Hi-O Silver, everyone. Lone Ranger, it's in the building. Lone Ranger, what's going on, brother, man? Gotta watch you, man. You being in here like the Feds watching. That one with the new bracelet comes on the gold. I think they're going to make the bracelet available separately. Okay, you guys are talking about something that I'm not locked into. I apologize. And I kind of prefer it to be, okay, you guys are going in. You like that, Lone Ranger? The Feds are watching. I gotta watch myself. You know what I mean? Gotta sweep this place for bugs. He might have already been here. But yeah, man, that's where we at, man. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Okay, so the floor is to you guys, man. If there's anything that you guys, any questions that you have for me, you guys asked me a bunch of questions already. I appreciate it. One thing I will say, and I'm probably going to say a little bit more often, because it's the lifeblood to this channel. It's the lifeblood to what I'm trying to do here. Like, it's almost like, the reason why it's so complicated for me to answer the question of what's the goals of the channel is that I want the people to decide that to a certain degree, right? I have good community members here. I have really down-to-earth people. I got people that have been doing this a lot longer than me. I look up to a lot of you guys. So it's like, my direction is also not all the way, obviously, right? I got to do what I like. But, at the same time, I'm listening to the feedback just like the micro brands, right? You guys are coming on here and you guys are giving me advice and everything else. It's generating. I have a lot of ideas off of that. But what I will say, and what I do want to ask is, what's some of the things you guys want to see moving forward from me? I mean, you already know pretty much what I've done and how I'm rolling. So obviously you're not going to come on here and be like, I want you to look at the new Rolex release and get that in and talk about it, right? You know that I can't do that. But inside of the realm that I can do it, I want to hear your feedback of what you would like to see moving forward. And also, what's your feedback? I need feedback, man. You guys are absolutely gentlemen, but I want you guys, ladies and gentlemen, but I want you guys to be harsh critics. I can take it. My skin is very thick, but I'm only gonna really get better if you guys are brutally honest with me. So anything that you guys can really look at with this channel, and looking at the reviews, looking at the lives, anything that I'm doing, I'm not really on shorts because that's just not my thing. But with the lives, with the long form, watch my videos and tell me, man, the sound didn't sound so good on that. I know people have told me that the sound is a little low on my channel, and I will work on that. And also, I know I got to get better cameras. But anything else, man, anything that you guys give me, I will definitely take into consideration, and I definitely will put that into effect as much as I can. I need you guys to get better. That's it. Kind of prefer. Okay. Venezianico, Rendendore, Aventuri. I'm excited to see those guys, man. I'm gonna pull up with a crazy excitement at the Watch and Wine Fair, because that was my first watch, like I said before, man. And I'm probably gonna have that on wrist, and if I don't, I'm definitely taking it with me, man. And I'm running up to the booth like, look at what I got. That's you guys. That's you guys. And I'm really excited about them, man, because they really, they're still doing NH35, which is nothing wrong with that, but their dials and their styles is very, very nice. Very, very nice. I'm very proud of Venetianico. I really do like where the brand is going. For me, in my opinion, they're becoming like a dial brand, and obviously now with that gold dial, man, that one really solid. That was like nailing the coffin. It was like, oh snap, they're putting gold in here. Sheesh. Now I don't know what movement they attach to it. For me, I don't care if it's an NH35. Then I know that movement's gonna last, and it's gonna be a very affordable service call. But that's cool with me. What do you mean? What do you mean you don't have a Rolex? This is a ripoff. Stop it, man. Stop it. Nah, Trevor's like, you know what? Nobody has trolled him yet. There's been no trolls in here, so let me go ahead and do it to him. Stop it, man. You know what's going on over here. Maybe one day, who knows, man? I just don't know where this journey is gonna take me no more. I'm just I'm along for the ride. I want the gold dial version of the watch, but it's sold out. Yeah, man. They're selling them watches, man. Like when they came out with that all black, that dial was sold out. And I think even the Venturina glass that I have is also sold out. The last time I checked, at least. They're doing good, man. They're doing good. Oh, hold on. Man, I hate technology sometimes. Anyway, we're going to leave it alone. It looks like at this point, Venetianico has to up their production as far as the quantities that they're coming out with their watches, because they're selling out, man, and big props to them. I really like what they're doing. I really enjoy the watch that I have. It's very, very nice. So, yeah, the tungsten bezel, yeah, that was another thing too, man. Putting the tungsten bezel on there. I really want to see the watches that, I want to look at all the watches that are there, of course, but because I have that connection now with having a Venetianico myself, man, I'm really excited to see it. But anyway, I'm going to close out, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging with me. I know that this was all over the place, but like I said, I like to come on here and just challenge myself. I didn't even have an agenda, but you guys are conversating and asking the questions, and I appreciate it. Give me that feedback, be a harsh critic. I want you to be brutally honest, because that's the only way that I'm going to be able to elevate. But anyway, guys, the last thing I'm going to say is I just don't want you to forget. It all started with a watch. No matter where your watch collection journey takes you, no matter how you decide to collect, you guys are all welcome on this channel and in this community, as you should be. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me on this live on a Friday. And I definitely will see you guys in the next one. Peace.